Hello, my name is Jason Weiser, and this is Introduction to Basic Rigging. Before we rig, there are three things we should do to prepare. The first is to make sure that our character mesh is in T-pose with the arms out straight and the fingers and the legs spread. The feet should be at least as wide as the shoulders. The torso and head are typically upright and the limbs are all mirrored. The character needs to be in the center of the world at 0, 0, 0. So in the front view, we should be sure the character's on the center line as well as in the side view. And lastly, we modify freeze transforms if any of our objects are not already frozen. And then delete the history. All the mesh parts should be in a layer called mesh, and let's also have a layer called joints. For a basic rig, we will build a hierarchy of Meyer joints located at each place in the character where we want the mesh to be able to bend. In the rigging module, in the skeleton menu, open the Create Joint tool options. Set joint orientation from XYY to XYZ. And then we will create individual joints in orthographic views by left-clicking and hitting Return. We can always create new joints by clicking here. To parent one joint to an existing hierarchy, we can select that joint, Shift-select the intended parent, and hit P. To unparent a joint, we select the child we want to remove from the hierarchy and hit Shift-P. We will create 3 initial chains for our character: the leg, the torso, neck, head, and the arm, finger. In each view, let's go to Shading, X-ray Joints for the side, front, and perspective view. The leg is created in the side view. We draw joints for thigh, knee, ankle, ball, and toe. The knee needs to be positioned forward a little bit. Hit D to adjust it. In the front view, select the thigh joint and move and rotate it to center in the leg. And now we name the joints in the channel box. For the torso, we go back in the side view. We draw a solo joint for the hips, a little above and in front of the thigh. Hit Return to finish it. Click again on the Joint tool, and we make the root joint at the waist, and then chain up through spine 1, spine 2, chest, base of the neck, and head just below the ear, and finally a hat node. This node at the end is to allow the head to rotate. We hit Enter to end the chain, and then select the hips node, Shift-select the root, and hit P to make the hips a child of the root. And now we name all of these joints. If we need to adjust any of these joints, hit D and use the Move tool to make slight adjustments. Be careful not to rotate the joints. To make the arm, we go to the front view. We draw a chain of joints from the clavicle to the shoulder, elbow, wrist 1 and wrist 2, the hand, and 4 finger joints down the middle finger for the knuckle, 2 joints, and a tip. In the top view, hit D to move the elbow back. Name all joints in the channel box. If your finger joints are too big, go to Display, Animation, Joint Size, and set the size to 0.1. To create the rest of the hand, in the top view, we unparent the hand from wrist 2, select it, hit Shift plus P, duplicate the hand chain for 5 fingers, Command plus D, and then rotate each hand joint to angle the fingers, holding D to move single joints into position. Note the thumb starts behind the hand joint. Select each first finger knuckle, unparent by hitting Shift-P from their hand, and delete all but the original hand joint. Select all 5 finger 1 knuckles, Shift plus select the remaining hand last, and hit P to parent all the fingers and the thumb to this hand joint. Then select the hand joint, and Shift plus select wrist 2 joint to hit P to parent the hand to the wrist 2, completing the hand joint links. In the perspective view, rotate the finger joints to better fit the mesh. Name all joints in the channel box. Now that we've completed our 3 main chains, we will attach them and mirror. Select the thigh and go to Modify, Prefix Hierarchy Names, and add an L for left and an underscore. So now each of these joints has that prefix. Select the arm, Modify, Prefix Hierarchy Names, L underscore. And now each of these joints has that prefix added. Select the thigh, Shift select the hips, and hit P to parent the thigh to the hips. Select the clavicle, Shift select the chest, and hit P to attach the arm to the hierarchy. And now we can mirror the joints. Select the thigh, skeleton, mirror joints option box. We want to mirror across the YZ plane, search for L underscore and replace with R underscore. And now we have the full hierarchy. We now have the basic joint rig, and we can test the rig by applying skin to connect the mesh to these joints. First, let's save the file. To skin the mesh, we select the mesh and Shift select the root joint. We then go to Skin, Bind Skin option box, change the max influences to 3, and hit Bind Skin. And now we can rotate joints and see the mesh pose. These other elements will be parented to the head bone. The stretching on the face and any place else where we're not completely happy with the way the mesh is bending can be fixed by painting weights. For now, be careful to undo any changes you make to the joint rotations by hitting Command Z to get us back to bind pose. Then break the skinning. Select the mesh, go to Skin, and unbind skin. We are now ready to add a control system so that we never have to directly animate any of these joints.